gonna have a great time doing it. So we're gonna wait for our gauge. I got it where I wanted at 35 psi. Now this may be a little high. Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Defiant Jeep. Today we're going to do another accessory install. And as a matter of fact, today we'll be working on V-Notch. This is actually my wife's Jeep. She's starting up her own channel as well, so please stay tuned for content to come on that channel. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and do this job for her. What we're going to do is we're going to install this tailgate table. Now, yeah, it looks pretty easy. This one's already assembled. And I'm going to consider it a little bit of cheating. I got this, this table pre-owned from one of our Jeep Club members who actually got rid of his JL. He actually traded it for a newer model JL with a 392, and God bless you, Dave. You're doing a fantastic, and what a beautiful Jeep that is. I wish I would have taken some pictures to share with you. So now, right now, this tailgate table is from, what do they call it? I think it's Springgate or Springtail. I think that's right, Springtail. Now, this comes completely disassembled, where all the two panels are apart, all the hinges, all the plates, everything. So really on a model like this one, it's a bit heavy. You got 6 bolts on this side for this plate, and then you got 6 bolts on the other side for the other plate. Now, during the assembly, you're going to take these 2 plates right here. It's like an L-shaped bracket. You're going to apply the 6 bolts. On the other side, you got the 6 washers and 6 nuts, and you're going to tighten them. And of course, you're going to do identically on the other side. Now, you know they're installed correctly because if you're looking at your table, can you still see that? Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, if you're looking at your table on the left, your plate's going to say Made in USA. The plate on the right, it's going to have a little Jeep symbol, and it's going to have Springtail etched in there also. So you know they're installed correctly. Made in USA, and the Springtail with the Jeep logo on there. This is actually a very nice one. This is a Molly table. And what Molly means is, see all those slots right there? One is going to do 2 good things for you. Let's start with the Molly part. You can pretty much hang everything, like you've seen all those Molly loops, Molly belts and whatnot, with those elastic straps. You can hang pretty much anything on there. At the same time, because you have so many Molly options over here, it's a great drain. So if you have some food that you're preparing, something fluid, like let's say a tomato or something else that will leak, it'll wash right off of there. And all you gotta do is just wipe it down to clean it. Now, during the assembly of this item right here, you're gonna have your paracord. Your paracord is right here. Okay, so you know, make a knot on one side. Let me see if I can bring that to you. And please excuse me, this item is got some weight on it. So you're gonna make a knot on one side right here. You're gonna loop it 1, 2, 3 times. Then you're gonna run all the way to the top. Now from the top, you're going to loop it twice, and then line it back together with the paracord, and then they also provide this shrink wrap. Now this shrink wrap hasn't been done, and I'm actually pretty thankful for Dave that he did not do it. Okay, so paracord on the other side is done exactly the same. And now going back to the shrink wrap, and I'm glad that he didn't do it, because this gives me an opportunity to really adjust the paracord how I want to before I shrink it, so it keeps the paracord in place. Now, when shrinking the paracord, or the shrink wrap to the paracord, I'm sorry, make sure you shrink it enough where the paracord doesn't come out of there, even though you tied a knot on the end of it, like this one here, or both. But you want to leave it loose enough. You still have some adjustability. I'm going to take advantage that it's not shrunk. I'm going to adjust it to where I want it. Maybe later on after my wife tries it and see if she needs a little bit more angle or whatnot, and then I'll shrink it at a later time. But the way I have it, it's already pre-assembled. I'm very thankful for it. Um, the only other items that I have here are 4 bolts that are identically the same length with 4 washers, and it's got 4 spacers. Now, you can tell on these two that the spacers do have 2 different lengths. There are 2 top and 2 bottom. Since these are not color coded and I do not have the instructions for this item here, I am going to do what every good scientist does. I'm going to do trial and error. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll use the other one. I mean, but honestly, you got 2 options, so it's a 50-50 chance, right? Alrighty. So really what you're going to need for this, for me right now only, is a 10 millimeter bolt and a 10 millimeter wrench, so I can get these all tightened up. And I'll explain the difference of using the 2 different sets of tools during the bolt on the Jeep. One other thing before I forget, during the assembly of this item right here, you are going to have a hinge. You hinge on the outsides. It's going to have an Allen bolt. It's a nice, looks like a carbon moly bolt, very strong, very tough. It's going to be very tight to get in. The threads are identically what they're supposed to be. I think there's so much powder coat on there that it's going to be tight. So with your Allen wrench, and preferably one that's got a T-handle Allen wrench, to give your wrist some leverage as you're twisting in and out, and you want to walk it back and forth, you know, and it's just what you're just trying to go through is that powder coat. Don't try and waller it out or do some other method that you think, oh, I can make this fit better and easier. Don't do it. The reason being is it's meant to be this tight so it prevents rattling. You don't want that rattle can noise while you're driving. You're thinking it's all kinds of other stuff. I don't know about other Jeepers. I know me. I listen to every sound. If there's something wrong, I'm going to figure it out. And preventing this rattle right here is one less noise I have to deal with. But alrighty, let me go ahead and get some tools together. Like I said, I'm going to get me a 10 millimeter wrench, 10 millimeter socket, and a 10 millimeter ratchet. And I might even get a universal joint. Let's see how this works out. But let me get prepared. Just give me 1 second. Alrighty, I got my tools going assembled. And there's a few things that I did not mention, and I failed to mention, probably because this item's already 100% assembled, ready for me to install. There are some, I guess, latches right here on the backside. They keep your table from falling down, and I'll talk about those in a minute. Simple install, maybe about 2 bolts on each side. And as far as the handle, that's the part with the red grip. Just make sure that this is pointed. If I can get it down, see if you can see it from there. In that position, I don't know if you want to call it like pointed upward, inward, whatever. When this is mounted, it's going to look upward and inward, but yeah, that's the handle. So you pretty much just fold this down and keep it from flopping about, and of course release it and get it out of your way so you can fold the table down, and this is of course on both sides. So now, aside of the 10 millimeter socket and wrench that I'm going to use, during the assembly there are 2 panels that we need to take off. Okay, and they are on the tailgate. And of course I'll get you a better shot of this in a moment. We're going to use plastic trim tools or interior trim tools. Now you can use this plastic one. Seems to be a popular grab. And they also make them in metal. You can use either one. Now just remember that you are prying on plastic. So yeah, it's going to get scratched a little bit, but it is plastic. You're not digging into the metal of your tailgate, so you're still going to be okay. Now there are 2 holes that we do need to drill. For all I know, the spacers are metric. They could be 13 millimeter. I don't have any metric drill bits, so I'm going to use a 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch is as close to 13 millimeters I can get. 13 millimeter is just like a hair wider. May have to just waller the plastic just a little bit, but I'm going to try without first. If I can make it fit, I'll make it fit. If I don't have to waller or try and, oh God, I don't know what's the right expression for elongating a hole, you know, I'll go in that direction. But let me go ahead. I got everything set. I got my my ratchet, my extension. I got a swivel in case I need a swivel. I got the plastic trim tool. I got my drill with a 1/2 inch drill bit on it. And all I need is just my 10 millimeter wrench, which should be right here. Let me grab that real quick. There it is, my 10 millimeter combination wrench with a ratcheting box. So now I'm complete. Let me go ahead. I'm going to move the camera. I'm going to show you how I get this job all done. Alrighty, hopefully I'm in the correct orientation. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm at V-notch. I got the tailgate swung open, and we got two pieces that we're going to remove. You got this thinner one right here, and then of course you got the larger one. We're going to go ahead and remove those and drill the appropriate holes so we can make the spacers fit. Let me get my pry tool. Alrighty, so got both in hand. Let's see which one works out best. Let me try the plastic one first. And what you're going to do is you're going to find an opening that works for you. Any way that you can wedge this in, kind of like a shoehorn, just to pry this plastic deal out. Oh, thanks. Well, that was easier than I thought. My goodness. Alrighty. Simple design. And don't get me wrong, it's like super hot in Las Vegas right now. That's where I live in Las Vegas. I actually live in the desert. So, of course, we know what happens with plastic. It becomes softer as it heats up, and that's what's happened here. So now, looking at the tailgate, we got 3 screw hole openings that Jeep or Mopar went ahead and kind of done in prematurely or whatever the favor was. But thank you, Jeep or Mopar, whoever did that in the design. Really helps us out a lot because that's going to be an anchor point. And additionally, where those 3 holes are, we got these 2. Let me see if you can see a little better. This one right here and an identical one at the bottom. We're going to go right through these with our 1/2-inch drill bit, and we're going to line them up with these holes right there. Let me just make sure. Okay, and it does say Jeep over here, so I can pay attention to what side is up, or if I put it upside down, and make sure I don't make that mistake. All right, put that one down. Let's take the big one off while I'm here, and you're going to do the same thing. Again, treat it as a shoehorn, and you're going to try this big fella off here. Let me see if I can find a spot. That sounds pretty good. And there it goes. And that's one thing I love about Jeeps is that everything is held on by clips. Everything just snaps into place. Now, let's find the lower one because we got those 2 here. So I'm going to believe we may go through these 2. Maybe that one and that one. And what we're looking for is divots. Oh, here they go. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. There's this tiny little dot. I don't know if the sun's helping me out any. There's this tiny little dot right there, and I don't know if I can bring it any closer. But you got 2 of them. And the other one is right there. So they're not centered. Okay, it looks like they're staggered, and that's okay. But we found the 2 little divot dots, and we're going to screw those out also to 1/2 inch for the lower spacer. So let's go ahead and... Oh, this is exciting because the job is way too easy. But let's go ahead and start drilling, and that's really all the noise we're going to make. We're going to use my electric drill, 1/2 inch drill bit, and make holes in this. Alrighty, with my table in place, and we're going to start with the smaller one first because these larger areas are a little bit more easier to maneuver. I'm going to go ahead and, maneuver. God, I sound like such a dork when I speak sometimes. Anyway, I got my drill bit, my 1/2 inch drill bit, and let's go ahead and start making holes. And really, this is all the noise you're going to make. And it feels like I kicked my tools somewhere, and that's all right. I already see one, and a little. Oh, there's a little blue one, but it's man. I got so many of those plastic little things. I don't care if I lose them, man. It's pretty good. So let's go ahead and do the other drill hole. Perfect. Aside of a little plastic mess everywhere, it actually came out very clean. And remember, you're not going to see these anyways because you're going to put the plate right in front of it. But the drill holes have been made very clean. That was wonderful. All right, let's go ahead and put that one down. Let me grab the other one, which is a little larger. Clean my table off a little bit because my wife will get all a little bent because it's really her table. You know how ladies are. Clean their shit, bro. Because if not, they'll dump their shit on you. And I'm sorry, ladies, but yeah, it's all about respect. You know, whenever you use something, clean it, give it back to whoever owns it. I know this is mine, but my wife takes pride in a lot of her little furniture stuff, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to clean it. I'll give it back to her the way I received it. All right. All right, so now we got the lower one. Now we have this divot hole here, which is near the 135-degree bend, which tells me that's going to be my screw hole there. And then I have one here, which is closest to that insertion point for that. So that's going to be that one there. Now, just for my peace of mind, where are those screws? And just so I can be a total smart guy, I'm going to fit one in the threads to make sure it is correct. And I'm still threading. Okay. Now the threads are coated with paint, so yeah, it is a little tight to get in, but it's all right. But the thread is correct. And alrighty, so here we go. Let me go ahead and put this down. I am now gonna use the same tool, and I'm gonna make 2 holes in the lower part of this thing right here, this cover. Let's see if I can do it without ruining my wife's table, because I swear to God, I'll never hear the end of it. Alrighty, so, and I like how it is recessed, the little divot hole. It's kind of like it's already been like center punched. Whole lot easier than I thought. Wow, it's awesome. A whole lot easier than I thought. Wonderful. Alrighty, so now let's go for this other one here. Where are you? Right there. All right. And you know, just like anybody else working on anything that you do, just like a carpenter, measure twice, cut once. So I'm constantly double checking everything to make sure I'm hitting the right spot. I don't want to ruin this because, like I said, it's my wife's Jeep, and I ain't gonna mess up V-notch, and I'm not going to the dealer or salvage yard to look for this kind of stuff. So as long as I get it right the first time, I am golden. That was way too easy. Way too easy. My goodness. All right, let's get all this plastic jazz out of the way. That looks good. And 2 holes in the appropriate area. Alrighty, so now we're ready to pop these fellers back on and finish installing the table. Alrighty, now that we're back in position where the tailgate's still open, we're going to first take the larger panel and we're going to put that back into place. And please forgive me if you're taking a look at my back over here. I got to put this in right, you know. But you're just going to line up all of your snap positions, making sure that they go in correctly. Just remember how many you have in front of you so you can get this all done right the first time, because it is a bear when they don't go in right. There we go, a little lower. Let's do the lower ones. All right, snapped into position. The lower one looks like it's lined up. That one looks like it's lined up. And these, I get the other plate. In fact, where is the other plate? I put you down somewhere and I forgot what I did. Oh, in the Jeep, because I'm a dork. Alrighty, just remember where it says Jeep, we're gonna put that upwards. All right, so we have a dowel set right there. Any hooks? That's a squeeze. That's a squeeze. Okay, wonderful. Alrighty, let's get this party started right here. All right, back in place, and that's lined up with the hole. That's lined up with the hole, so everything looks perfect. All right, so let me get my spacers. Now, just as a reminder, the bolts are identically the same length. What is not is the spacers. So let me go ahead and separate all the spacers from the bolts and washers. And I'm going to need to test something. So, considering the distance of the spacer or the flat surface here to that one versus the flat surface to that one there, I can't even tell which is which. And like I said, they're not color coded in any way, so I can't really tell what's top or bottom. So I'm going to try the longer ones on top. If they bottom out and they're still too long, I'll obviously put the wrong ones in there. And of course, I did not waller the hole. Try and keep the drill as minimal as possible. So if I have to, I'm going to use this rubber mallet to help me pound them in. Let's see how it works. Yep, and I was right by going this route. The longer one is too long for the top. So what I'm going to do, where is my, I use a pair of pliers. Let's pop this guy out of there. And that was way too easy because it's plastic. Let me close that drawer. Now we're going to grab the shorter one. And that is perfect. Let me grab the other short one. We're going to pop this guy in here. I may need a little persuasion from my mallet, but not too much. As they say in construction, good enough for government work, right, fellas? Oh. And ladies, for some of y'all that work construction. Alrighty. So now we know that the longer ones are going on the bottom. That one slid in pretty good. Let's do this one here. Oh, don't play with me. Come on, a little bit of plastic. There we go. That's perfect. All right. So now, at this point right here, we are actually ready to install the table. Let's make a little space, clean up some of our mess, and let's put that table on the tailgate. Alrighty, now that we're back in position to install the table, let's go ahead and grab it. Now the first thing you're going to pay attention to is the back. You want to make sure that the top and the bottom are the correct orientation. And now you're going to flip it to the back side where the mounting holes are. And you will notice that the top holes and the bottom holes are not perfectly lined up. They're probably about 15 degrees off diagonally, you know, and that's because of the provisions on the tailgate. Now another thing is we're going to have to open this up, and it's going to get a little bit awkward because we have to do this with the lift gate open or the tailgate open or the table down. My God, I'm so confused right now. It's going to be a little clunky. And like I said, this is an all metal one, so it's a bit heavy. So what you want to do is you want to take at least the top screws and get them started. This will at least help you with the installation of this. Okay, I got some threads in there. And let's put some threads in here. And what's nice is the mounting holes themselves, they are elongated, they're oval. So you shouldn't have a problem winding these in. Now I got them a few threads by hand. Let's just put them in a little bit more, but we're not going to bottom out. We're not going to tighten all the way. That's good enough for right now. All I know is my bolts are through, and it's all that matters. My bolts are through. So I'm going to leave myself just a little bit of thread out so that I can adjust it, center it, do whatever I got to do. Now let's find the holes in the bottom. Now this is going to be the tricky part. You have this little bevel right here, and it's going to be in the way of the bolt. So this is going to be the tricky one to get in. As soon as we can get it in, then it will be golden. Let me see if I can wind it in as much as I can. In fact, for this particular reason, is that I got my little swivel for my socket. Give myself some kind of like angling leverage. Now this is the part we need to remember, that there is that bevel on the tray. So we need to be mindful of that. Because that's another thing getting in the way of tightening the bolts. So we're going to try it with our ratcheting box end. See if we can get more in there so we can tighten it as best we can. Now these holes aren't, I mean the bolts aren't very big. It has a 10 millimeter head. I'm going to assume it's maybe a 6 millimeter bolt. Since they're not very thick, they're not going to be all kinds of strong like you think. Just wrist tight would be enough, maybe about 20 foot-pounds. Don't quote me on the numbers, but just tight enough that you can do it by hand. And that's all she wrote for the top. Let's get these bottoms all set up, and then our tray's finished. Also making sure that it's flat, so when I continue to tighten down, there's no stress or resistance against it. Alrighty, so it looks like we're all set. Table's in place. Good to go. Oh, one thing I didn't mention during the assembly, and I probably did, the latches to keep this in place. Just 2 bolts on either side. Just close it. Set your latches. That'll keep the table from falling down and making any noise. Feels pretty solid. No noise whatsoever. Alrighty, and there you have it. One tailgate fold-down table installed, ready for our next off-road adventure, whether it be just tailgating with the group in the desert somewhere, or camping, or doesn't even have to be food prep. I mean, if you want to put your laptop on there, or maybe some tools that you happen to be working with. Definitely a fantastic table. Easy add-on to a V-notch over here. And my wife is definitely going to be thrilled with it, and we're going to be taking advantage of it. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you watching the video with us. Don't forget, coming soon is www.defiantjeep.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all our social network platforms. The Desert Wranglers, don't forget about Desert Wranglers. www.desertwranglers.club. And of course, if you have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to say about this video, or anything you'd like to share or add, just drop a comment below. We'd love to see you on the trails.